know that there is a raging conversation going on now about a particular community in Trelawney. The incident is quite concerning, and many of the images that we have seen are disturbing. My heart goes out to the families who have been dislocated. I see a particular image of a newborn and the mother being displaced. These are the tragedies of our history. And it is one thing that history does, is to repeat itself. And I am committed to ensure that our history is not repeated. Which is why I am unequivocal and very clear in not endorsing squatting and the illegal occupation of land. As your Prime Minister, I have been unequivocal and very clear. I do intend to address the specific matter when I have the full details of the matter. The matter is quite complex and it involves court rulings for which I need to be properly advised on those court rulings before I speak. I do intend to, however, address the matter. As soon as the matter occurred and it was brought to my attention, I had no prior knowledge of it, none of our ministers, certainly not the Member of Parliament. I got a call very early in the morning, quite surprised, and immediately we mobilized resources from ODPEM and the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to assist, because technically it was a disaster. Luckily, we were very frugal and responsible in how we used the materials that we were able to respond with. We never use off what we didn't need to use off. So what we got in aid and support and what we bought in stock, we never wasted. We put it down carefully so that when the next disaster strikes, whether it is hurricane or an untimely relocation and dislocating exercise, we are able to respond to the people. And we have been able to respond in the humanitarian crisis that has been created. There is a longer term response that is necessary. And as all of you stand here, there are some of you who are occupying land for which you have not yet certified the occupancy. You have no title, some of you have no lease, no permission. Some of you it's land that has been handed down from your grandparents' time and you have been on it for how long, but it's not formalized. And others of you have been just living on land that you go and see nobody using it and you use it. Now, Jamaica can develop with informality, but Jamaica cannot develop with unfairness as well. So whatever the government does, it has to address the issue of informality, and we can't be too mouth about it. We have to speak straight about it. Squatting is wrong, informal settlement is not encouraged, but yes, every single Jamaican should have equal opportunity to get access to land and housing. The two things are not in contravention of each other. Not in contravention. Now, we will be addressing the issue. We will have to find ways to support those families who are impacted. But whatever our response is, we have to be careful that we don't set a precedence that is not sustainable. Because whatever we do now, everybody's going to expect that it is done going forward. So, which is why we are being very careful in preparing a response that is sustainable. And mind you, this is not the only repossession, dislocation, eviction that is occurring. and it is occurring on private property, but it is becoming a public concern. So we have to be very careful in crafting a response. You know, what is amazing, and as I have your attention for another minute or so, everyone will say the government must respond, and the government must do something. Yes, the government must respond. Yes, the government must do something, but what is the government going to respond with? Your tax dollars, your funds that the government is going to respond. It's your funds. So you need to take an interest in how those funds will be used. Because the government can't respond and say, all right, everybody who is squatting, everybody who is illegally occupying, we're going to give you land. Or we're going to build a house for you. Well, what happened to the people who are occupying their lands legally but don't have a house on it? What about other people who have followed the rule but are in difficult circumstances? What about them? Do we divert resources from them to this? So we have to think about the response very carefully. I want to say here that as a society we must draw a line on this business of the illegal occupation of land. But at the same time, we need to turn a new page on how we make lands available to the people of Jamaica. Not just lands, but housing. Because that is the challenge. The problem that we are having is that we are just not delivering enough housing solutions at the price and at the scale that people would want. That is the main challenge. The truth is that if the people who occupied Cooper's Pen, if they could have gone and gotten a house at a price point that they could manage, they wouldn't do it. And so the conversation has to change to how do we get more houses constructed in a formal community much faster at prices that people can afford. That is the real solution, right? The solution can't be, which has been promoted by politicians in the past, which is you see that little piece of land there, one go settle it, and then afterwards we come and correct it. That's the genesis of this problem. That's the history that has repeated, that has gotten us here. The politicians who are talking now, they are a part of that problem. They were the ones who winked at people and told them, go and occupy the land, and then afterwards we correct it. I can swear here that I am not a part of that. I wasn't born when those things were going on. I was a little boy. And I see some of them talking now who are responsible for it. They are responsible for it. And now it has fallen to me to correct it. And it will be corrected. In the same way we have developed this program, which every week I'm delivering a house to someone who is in need, a social house, to someone who has a social challenge. It is the same way that we will develop a program to address squatter communities, irregularly settled communities, formalize them, regularize them, and prevent further squatting and informal settlement. That has to be the way to go. So I preached to you enough. It is now time for the signing. So you're going to sign it.
Give me the phone. Give me the phone. Vicky. Yeah. No, vertical. Xavier, man. Make sure it's Xavier. Okay. God. You can't take a picture of that. It was Xavier side. All of them together.
All right, the deed is done. All right, so you can welcome into your new home now.
Come on. Yes. What? When the security DJ too tight in all virgin business. I mean, wanna push me down, I'm not a manners. Alright, stop. Be yourself.